guys, what's up? LegendBTV here, and you all seem to like the iCarly ranked video, so today we're doing the exact same thing for Victorious. Yeah, things are going to be even bigger this time around, as we have 10 characters this time who have surpassed the 20 episode qualification. I like that. We have 10 characters to rank from this now 10-year-old show. Nice. How fitting. It's just a shame this one character, Lane, was just one episode away from being eligible for this list, because he did offer us this one piece of comedy gold right here. Talk about some hilarious controversy and implications indeed. Anyways, let's get started by ranking the characters of Victorious from worst to best. Keep in mind, this is all my opinion. Let's go! Number 10. So much like with my opinions on the characters of iCarly when I start this list, keep in mind there's no characters from this show that I actively hate watching or really dislike all that much. It's just, heck, someone had to be at the bottom, right? But you know what, to this character's credit, he's really not all that bad. He just has this certain disadvantage that I feel like the writers see him kind of as an inessential character in a way. Because maybe if he was used a bit more, then I would have put this character higher on the list. But basically, when I rank these characters, I can only really go off what the show presents me and how they use the character. So yeah, we're starting this one off with Sinjin Van Cleef. So yeah, I don't overly think Sinjin is a bad character. It's just whenever he is used, he rarely ever gets a reaction out of me or really impresses me. Most of the time they just use these tired jokes of him being creepy and like hitting on Tori and other girls, and I think he's severely misused because they rarely ever show us anything else about him besides the fact that he's creepy and he likes weird and gross things. But don't get me wrong, the few instances where they do branch out and do things with Sinjin, I do actually like. His game show, Queries for Couples, I thought that was a really funny bit. And it was also really cool seeing Beck and Sinjin get along in the final episode. It was really rewarding to watch, and it's great that they didn't just make Beck have like a terrible time. It's cool that he kind of thought this would suck, but then when he actually went and hung out with Sinjin, he noticed he's not actually a bad guy. And also, I do want to state that it's not like the humor of him being really creepy is never funny. It can be, but most of the time it's done in a very one-note kind of way, where it's just kind of like the same joke over and over, where he hits on somebody, or he just like shows them something gross they don't care about. Overall, he's not a bad character. I don't hate the character. It's just they don't really do much to vary it up besides the fact that, well, he's creepy. Number 9. So a lot of these characters on this ranking are very close together. So close that I really just have to go with my first instinct when ranking them. So when I place Robbie here at the number 9 spot, it's not really that I strongly dislike him. It's just there are certain issues I have with this character that other characters higher up on the list don't really have. Robbie can be a really funny character on many occasions. Heck, I do think in the Sam and Cat episode, the Killer Tuna Jump, I think he is definitely the standout character. The funniest moments from that episode are from Robbie, in my opinion. But he can also be clumsy, awkward, and worst of all, annoying. So yeah, he's basically Victorious's nerd character. That's the way they portray him, at least. In that case, I much prefer a nerdy character like Freddie Benson from iCarly rather than this one. Because like in iCarly, I feel like not only did he mature, but like the character itself, the way they written him, he was less like stereotypically dorky. He really just kind of matured. And that resulted in him being a lot more of a likable character for me. But yeah, we don't really ever get that with Robbie. Robbie's usually either seen annoying other characters or just being treated like crap, neither of those which I really care for. And there isn't really much growth or change for a character like him. For example, there's this cringy subplot in the episode A Film by Dale Squires. Great episode, by the way, where Robbie is trying so hard to look cool in front of cheerleaders by trying to look like he's helping Beck with the car when really Beck's doing all the work, and it's just really cringy sequence. I mean, yeah, admittedly the scene's funny, but it's an unlikable attempt at manipulation that totally warrants Robbie getting sprayed by the hose at the end. Now that's what I found really funny. Now, of course, Victorious would not be the same without Mr. Robbie Shapiro and his Broken Glass song. He's definitely funny and all, but, in my opinion, definitely towards the bottom of the Victorious totem pole. Number 8. Trina Vega. Something hilarious I find about these shows is characters with unrealistically large egos. I do think Trina Vega is funny whenever she does brag about how amazing she is, while simultaneously the show is like, oh, she's terrible. I also think Trina is written well as an annoying sister, like that's what she's kind of supposed to be. So in that regard, I think Danielle Monet portrays her really well. She's over the top in her annoying ways to Tori and her friends. While I've seen many people have a problem with Trina, generally it's inoffensive to me. I don't think it bothers me as much as many Victorious fans, but that's not to say Trina is never annoying. I think Trina as a character to me is enjoyable in limited exposure. Too much Trina and I'm like, no, we out, son. But you know what? Trina can be funny with limits. Number 7. It hurts putting someone this handsome this low. But yeah, up next is Beck Oliver. Don't get me wrong, Beck generally is pretty likable. A nice actor in the show, and he is good at keeping Jade under control. And he can occasionally crack a few decent lines here and there. And that's really kinda it. Beck to me really isn't very exciting or outstanding to me in any way. But guys, keep in mind, when I do describe the characters how they are, in my opinion, that's also kind of the way they're written in the show. Like I do understand that is the point. Beck is generally kind of a quiet guy with more reserved emotions. He's just very laid back and chill. I don't really have a problem with any of Beck's character traits that are given. I mean, they're mostly fine. It's just like the reserved, laid-back vibe, mixed in with the fact that we rarely ever get to see Beck kind of being like a star at acting. Most of the time, the very few times they do show him acting, usually it's alongside Tori doing something to screw it up, like, oh, I don't know, making the guy literally shoot an arrow in the main actress's hand. Oh, classic Victorious, good times. So yeah, overall, Beck is cool. He's just not one of my favorite characters. But he's still good looking. He's still good looking though, so that's all that matters. Number 6. So here is where I will place Tori Vega. She is the character we see the most, so we do get to know the most about her. And if you saw in my decently popular Tori Vega review, I think she's overall a fine character. She's funny, she can be witty, and when she screws up, it is great that she is capable of learning from her mistakes, such as when she kisses Kat's boyfriend.
Punch me right in the face.
Ow! I will admit she is the likely choice to be the star of Victorious. I couldn't imagine any of these other characters being in Tori's position, or the show wouldn't really be victorious. So while she does stand out in that aspect, I simply just prefer the personality traits or humor of the people higher up on the list just a little bit more. But Tori is perfectly fine and good. Number 5. Up next is Jade West, which I have previously done a character discussion on too. Just had to plug that if you want to check that out. Yeah. By the way, if you guys want to see an additional character analysis on any of the characters on this list, or my iCarly list, or whoever you want to see that's a Schneider's Bakery character, leave a comment down below, and I may just get around to do that. Jade is basically the element of darkness on the show. She's definitely hinted at having a very dark past in episodes before, and even just by her body language and the way she presents herself, yeah, like you can definitely kind of infer that. Unfortunately, the show's just too much of a general audience kind of show to really go too much into depth as to why Jade is how she is today. Because honestly, I think that would be a really interesting plot, especially like if they were to ever do, I don't know, a Victorious reboot, and then you could have a bit more dark, risky themes there on the reboot if you made it a bit more catered to a more mature audience. I mean, heck, we got an episode about how Trina got into Hollywood arts, but we can't get an episode about how Jade is how she is. I call Flaypagan on that one. So some of you may be asking why Jade is as high as she is, but Sam was at the very bottom of my ranking on iCarly. I think there's a difference between Jade and Sam, and a very crucial one at that hinders my enjoyment of Sam. Whereas Jade just seems really insecure and emotionally unstable, and it's just naturally very negative and a little bit mean around everybody. Sure, mostly it is Tori who she goes after, but it's not like Sam, where Sam is mostly just really mean to Freddie, and that's kind of it. But at least the darkness and the mean tone is something that feels like it's a part of Jade's character, where Sam, it feels like she's just unfairly mean to Freddie. Number 4. Next up is by far the best singer from Victorious in my opinion, even back in this day. This show is part of what made me such a huge fan of Ariana Grande's voice. But in addition to that, she was always just super bubbly, happy, and positive on the show. And that's definitely something I can appreciate greatly coming from somebody who is generally like Kat is emotionally. She was really funny, she had a different kind of mindset, I'll say, and she did a lot of things that other characters on the show just simply wouldn't do, such as use bouncy shoes to travel. I don't have too much more to add about Kat Valentine, but she is a lovable character and I'm definitely glad she's on the show. Except Dan Schneider. Look what you made her do!
Have you ever tried to get your whole big toe in your mouth?
Number 3. Up next is Andre Harris, yeah. Generally, I think he's probably the most likable character on the show. He's just really charming, smooth, and funny. Also, he gets extra brownie points from me because he's like the musical one, and yes, music is life. And when he performs, he has an impressive amount of soul. Another character I don't really have much to say about, but I'm definitely really glad he's around. Number 2. Up next, we have Rex Powers, yeah. Now, Rex is hilarious. He's this really snarky, cool guy that's basically like an anti-Robbie, even though Robbie has his hand in him all the time. Ooh. Where Robbie's just really not that. Robbie's really like awkward, and like Rex is just somehow this really smooth, cool guy. And I do actually think that translates to a lot of good jokes between the friendship between Robbie and Rex. Even his really urban voice alone is just really fun and enjoyable to listen to.
That worm's not at school, he's playing hooky.
You could argue maybe Rex is a little bit of a jerk. I can excuse anything jerky he does, because really it's Robbie making him say that stuff. By the way, Rex's, aka Christopher Kane's performance on iBloop 2 and Blooptorious were incredible. I love those episodes. And number 1. Winning the Victorious contest, we have Mr. Psychowitz. Oh yes. Psychowitz is that kind of teacher I wished I could have, man. He relates well with teenagers, and he does teach them about different forms of acting and such and whatnot. He's crazy, he's fun, he says goofy, interesting things. Like, I literally just now thought of this, but he also goes barefoot. Dan Schneider, seriously. But yeah, he's basically like this show's version of Spencer from iCarly, and it's great that in the episode I Party with Victorious, him and Spencer actually get to meet. And he also shows a real genuine passion to teach kids about acting. From trying to scare people at Keenan's house party, to one of the most amazing moments in Victoria's history, the ending of the episode Freak the Freak Out, where Psychowitz performs that Ginger Fox song from iCarly. And at the end, he does this move, which I'm sure is reminiscent to something, I just don't know what it is, where he pulls this thing and like water splashes all over him, and everyone just goes crazy, and I don't know why, but that moment right there was not only hilarious, but it felt like that was Victorious's grand moment. Like, that was the moment that's like, yes. Everything felt right about that. I was like, it was incredible, and in my opinion, it was the most classic event in Victoria's history. So yeah, being the awesome character that he is, and in addition to having pretty much the greatest moment in Victorious, I'm gonna say my favorite character in Victorious is Mr. Psychowitz. Yeah. But anyways, that was my video on ranking the Victorious characters from worst to best. Keep in mind, it is all just my opinion. I would love to see what you guys think the best and worst Victorious characters are. You can leave your ranking down below. You know what I'm saying? Check out my iCarly one, or more of my Schneider's Bakery videos, or more of my other videos if y'all like music as well. And I'll see you guys in more videos soon. Peace!